Roger, go for deploy.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back to Adventure Fit Radio. In this part 2, we speak to Adam Rozenbachs about all things gym. I don't know why I just said that. He's a comedian, so he's not related. He actually did CrossFit, by the way, guys, so you want to tune into that. Really good episode. We are brought to you by Audible. I just thought I'd pause there for a second. Guys, jump onto audibletrial.com/ADVF radio. You can get a 30-day free trial if you sign up and a 1 free credit. The first book I ever got off Audible was, I believe it was The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And Bill's reading that right now, and a friend of mine read that. Dylan Flannery, if you are listening to the show, mate. Dilson Flannery.
Best looking bloke at CrossFit Richmond, 1996 to 2016.
Yes, that's very true. But Jeezy knows it.
Does he?
Nah, he'll be listening to the show. He's a good man. He's a really good man.
Oh, if he's listening to the show, let's tell him how it really is.
Fuck him.
Is he a bit? He gets around himself a bit, or?
Look, no, but yeah.
Because he's a rooster.
He's a rooster and a half.
He's a genuine rooster.
He's a spring tricone. He's a trucaklumaff.
Yeah. What the fuck was that?
I don't know what that was. Oh, God.
Dylan Flannery is a chukaklumuff.
He's a chukaklumuff. No, you're a champion, Dill. Congratulations on the wedding. No, you're not getting married. Yeah, guys, so Audible, jump onto Audible for us. And this is all going to shit now. And Adventure Fit Travel, guys, jump onto Adventure Fit Travel as well. All right. We'll get into the show.
Word.
And bye.
So, Rosie, you want to talk about comedy in like a broader sense? So, how important do you think comedy is in society? It's in the role it plays.
I think people need it. It helps people forget about what's going on in the world. It helps them switch off. And it kind of can help people bond. It gives you something to talk about. If you're into the same comedy, people are all together. I mean, I remember when I saw Borat, and I've never seen a cinema laugh like that. That scene where they're wrestling in food. I've never heard, and it's uncontrolled. People
squeals.
It was just the funniest thing. And to hear 400 people in a cinema losing their minds about something like that was just fantastic. It's just really cool, and I don't know. It just helps people switch off, and also I think too if you're seeing intelligent sort of comedy and it can point out, it can make a statement, it can say things.
Yeah. That was the next thing that I was leading into was like how important is like the role of comedy in pointing out where society is going wrong and politically, like George Carlin, for example, is the perfect example.
Incredible. Bill Hicks was fantastic at it. And I think when that sort of thing, and, Louis C.K. now is very good at it, it just resonates because you can have comedians and just, you can do your dick jokes and whatever, but when it has a point, when it has something to say, it really resonates because, one, you're learning something, and two, you're laughing about it, and it can go a little bit deeper. And I think any comedian who can do kind of both is just, it's next level.
Yeah.
And I think that's the idea of the comedian is to see stuff that regular people don't. That's what makes us different. That's why, we're all neurotic and weird, and that's what we offer. It's just seeing things the way that normal people don't see it.
You also have, I think, a bit of a free rein, or you have the ability to say things that political analysts cannot.
Yes,
because it's funny. It's a positive impact. Whereas if someone goes out and goes, "This is fucked because of this, and this," they're going to go, "I don't want to listen to that guy."
Yeah,
that's all negative, all negative words or whatever. Whereas, like George Carlin, for example, is like a political analyst, societal analyst.
Oh, massively.
Basically. And because people are going to be able to take that information in a positive way, and they're going to talk to their mates, they're going to talk to their partners and their mates about, hey, how's what he was talking about? Fucking the gay marriage or whatever, something like that. That's fucked how that, and it can actually bring up that conversation that normally wouldn't really be broached because no one wants to talk about that shit.
Yep.
Yeah, or else... even if they do want to talk about it, they'll be so closed off that they don't want to hear it.
Yeah. Makes sense.
People have got their opinions, and it's really hard to sway. Not everyone loves to change their opinion, but if you can make people laugh and then teach them something, and they go, oh, you know what, I hadn't thought about it like that, or how it affects that person in that way, like, a gay comedian going up there saying, this is why it hurts me not to get married.
Yeah.
And so rather than them just being going, well, it's not in the Bible or whatever, they just go, oh, okay, it hurts an actual person.
Yes.
And if you're laughing at it and you can enjoy it, and I mean, if you don't enjoy it, you're actually hearing it, and it's not like a diatribe of this is how you need to think. It's like, this is how I feel. Do with it however you want.
Why do you think that is? In this day and age, it's so politically correct. Me and Tommy we just did a podcast ourselves, just me and him, before this morning, and we actually talked about dress-ups and blackface. And for example, and the guy that got in heaps of trouble down at Frankston for dressing up as a rapper, which is like, it was a rap night. Yeah. You know, unless you're dressing up as Eminem, you're probably going to be painting yourself black. Yeah. You know? And there was nothing, but he got chastised, but you guys can get up on stage and, to an extent, make jokes about gay, about race, about
or just these socially vulnerable topics. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's a weird thing. I mean, the thing about the blackface that I think people that this is the way that I say it, that don't understand. Once you're told that Indigenous people or black people find it racist, then that's where it begins and ends. When you're told that they feel that it's racist, and you go, well, that's kind of it, I suppose. For me, that's the way I see it. Is you go, okay, they find it offensive. If they, if black people come out and said, yeah, it's fine, go for it, we don't mind. But because it takes them back to a time when black people didn't get work, they painted up white people, they cut them out of society. It has a completely different connotation. I think as a white person, it's not for us to say. Because we've lived a privileged life. That's in comparison.
Yep.
What I was saying with Tommy earlier, which I don't know, that podcast will actually come out before this one, so the listeners will have heard it. What my take on it was, the guy in Frankston who got chastised for dressing up as a black rapper on a rap night, he was like, I believe he was like a 20-year-old kid.
Yeah.
He's from Frankston. I mean, when I saw it all kicking off, I got into some discussions online, and I had to really look into the historical context of it. Yep. So what I'm saying is, does this guy need to get chastised for something that he probably doesn't even know about?
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Thing. You'd hope that, if he learns a lesson from that, if he goes, Jesus, I didn't realise it was going to be like that, and then doesn't do it again, then you go, okay, well, that's okay.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, too, that the issue that kicked off there was the club came out and had a go at, I think it was Adam Briggs, the rapper, who'd pulled him up on it and left a really pretty vile message on his thing, and that's where that kind of elevated. They sort of try to defend themselves rather than going, you know what, we made a mistake, we'll move on.
So you think, well, how far do you use any of this? Do you actually? I mean, I've seen a lot of Australian comedians. Adam Hills is really good. Like he did the EMC'd the Raw Comedy Festival I went to last year.
Okay,
and then he would come in and he started off with some really good points about like Christmas Island and stuff, so detention centres and whatever, and he gets people thinking. Do you use any of that? And like, have you ever thought to? And
look, I don't. I just find that a lot of times that's why people are going to the comedy, to escape that kind of stuff. So to hear a lot about it, like if there's something big that's happening, you make a bit of a couple of little jokes along the way. That's the way that I operate, but I wouldn't do huge slabs of it just because it just doesn't interest me. Like obviously it interests me. I think it's bad what's going on, but I don't know if I can turn it into comedy. If I can't make it funny for me, then I just go, it's just too heavy, it's just really dark.
You got to watch out really pushing an agenda too, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think the thing that can happen now, though, with political correctness, and, people go, it's political correctness gone mad, and everyone's on tenterhooks at the moment because everyone has a voice. Facebook and Twitter, and everyone can arc up and write what they want. So anyone on radio makes one misstep and it blows up. And I'm not saying like... if you say something really bad and you deserve what you get, but if you just go, maybe a throwaway line that you didn't even think about and then it just blows up and people go crazy, it's sort of like, because everyone has a voice now.
Yeah.
Which I think can be good, and it also has its dark side because with that comes trolling and all that sort of shit.
100% it can have its dark side.
Yeah, and it's like it's just anonymous. People just throwing stones. You wouldn't say that to someone's face.
Yeah, but that's right.
Again, you both make good points. Like number one, Bill, with the thing about ignorance. I mean, that kid didn't know any better, and so how was he supposed to know? And Adam was saying, if he learns from it, then that's a good thing. But also too, I mean, we're sitting here as three white Caucasian males born and bred in Melbourne, Australia. It's like we have literally good looking dudes.
Let's not beat around the bush.
We're not bad.
Yeah.
We've literally we've never known oppression to ourselves personally or to anything down the line.
We're in the 1%.
We're in the less than 1%. We wouldn't even think. Right. We don't know what it's like to have had that historical undertones. So
that's what I
maybe
don't understand. Where people try and argue against this, like, well, you haven't walked in their shoes,
You don't know.
You can't. You actually can't.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
what about you go?
I was just going to finish up by saying, like, on one side that maybe that political correctness, because what we're talking about before was we didn't really understand it. Maybe that is fair because we're not in their shoes. But on the other side, you just don't know.
Yeah, it's a fine line, and you can see everyone's sides. Like they can go, we can do. Well, I don't say that side, but they go, we can do whatever we want. It's just fun. You go, well, they don't see it as fun.
Exactly.
So it's a tough one.
It's just a joke, man. Come on.
Yeah, and that's what everyone says.
Yeah. Yep.
So what about do you have anything before you go up on stage, Rosie, to like calm your nerves? Do you have any sort of practice, or are you pretty relaxed before you get out there?
Any heroin? Or
what's that?
Heroin, meth?
A lot of heroin. I go out there pretty gacked. I will try and get the order of what you're going to do. Try and remember your first joke so you don't stumble through that. So you get through that and you can relax yourself a bit. I pace around a lot.
Yep.
Go to the toilet a lot. And maybe I'll have a beer, but I won't have any more than that. Just because you just get a bit cloudy if you're not completely switched on.
Right. I always wondered about that. Like when I see comedians up on stage, I'm like, is this bloke pissed? Is he?
Yeah, I can't do it drunk.
Yeah, not normally. I've not normally seen people hammered.
Yeah.
But you always wonder, like, if that was part. Some guys have got a beer with them. I see Ricky Gervais. Watch some of Ricky Gervais, especially. He's always like just sipping on a can of beer, whatever. But what about some of your counterparts? Do they go out and they have 6 beers? Does anyone like have 6 beers before they go out there, or everyone's pretty professional now? They maybe just have one as a enjoyable.
No, there's a few that can do it. I've seen comedians get up there hammered, like spastic, and destroy.
Yeah,
it's just what they do. There's a Canadian comedian. Oh God, what's his name? He goes out there with a 6-pack and he finishes it by the end of an hour show.
Yeah. Right.
And Mike Wilmot, who's
that's pretty quick drinking.
That's pretty good.
Mate, he's powering him down.
Yeah.
He's real. Fuck, you want to talk wrong comedy? He's really wrong.
Yeah.
And he's really gravelly and like fucking funny.
Yeah.
And he tortures a 6-pack in an hour. So he loves it. So it's easy to their own. I just find I get a bit foggy, and you're not as sharp as you need to be.
So what about the general kind of society of comedians? Is it a pretty healthy society, or like you're into your fitness, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Comedians in general, health-wise. Fuck no,
just
Jesus.
Like,
I mean, we hear all the stories about how comedians obviously have a lot of like mental health issues and see the world differently.
Yeah.
Is that a stereotype, or is there a lot of
No, I think the reason a lot of people become comedians, firstly, I mean, for mine, it's like a defense mechanism. It's like I can make the joke before you can make the joke. Because I had really bad acne when I was younger, and you just kind of a lot of comedians are kind of slightly outcast sort of thing.
Yep.
And so they've got that, that sort of chip on their shoulder. They can be prone to depression or that kind of stuff. And I think, too, that comes with the performance of you take so much out of what's in front of you, and if it doesn't go well, you just sit on that for days and dwell, and, it can take you to some dark places when you're not writing well and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
But in terms of, like, physical fitness, I think it can be really difficult because it's a late night vocation. You're out late at night. You got access to a lot of free piss, and around that time, like Melbourne's not so bad, but when you're on tour, to get a decent feed at 11:30 at night in a rural country town, all you got is the servo.
Yeah. Couple of big
it
M's and
it can be really difficult to kind of
sausage rolls.
Yeah,
some heroin.
Yeah, exactly. All that stuff that's been sitting there for ages. You want fresh heroin.
Yeah. But sorry, you continue.
Oh no, I was just going to say it can be a difficult thing, but I got into boxing about 10 years ago and just love it, and I've always tried to keep fit. You always drop off. It's hard, but you just sort of. It's also good for you mentally, is what I've found.
Just want to talk more about fitness in a sec, but just touching back on, you mentioned using it, like the people use it as a defense mechanism, and like and a lot of comics are you kind of guys that were maybe picked on in school and so on and so forth. I listened to another podcast. I think it was Joe Rogan interviewing one of the female comics in the US, and she had to talk about, she was really attractive.
Yeah.
She had to talk about the fact that she had to dress unattractively.
Yep.
Because, and led down the conversation of like male comics you don't really see any dudes that go out there that want to dress themselves to look like they're the stud, the quarterback guy, because you don't connect with those guys.
Nah.
And you can't take, a lot of comedy is self-deprecating. You can't take that side of it. Is that something that like...
Yeah, I think you don't want to set yourself up as... And some comics do it, like Tom Gleason will go out and boast that he owns his house and he'll talk about how well he's doing and all that kind of stuff, but that's his character.
Yeah.
That's what he's set up, whereas Hughesy was, early days was like, and he was on the dole, but, he was a struggler and stuff, and then he tried to veer into the talking about, being successful. It's kind of hard because people don't want to hear it.
Well, that's exactly right. No, like the stereotype of like a comedian, you think of someone who, like Bill said, was, kind of bully. It's like a little bit like, left to centre, it's just kind of that dude walking around, not the coolest guy, and then you don't want to see, you can't connect with someone that's like ripped or someone that's like, for example, like a comedian that was kind of overweight and that was a part of their act and then they lost weight.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, this dude's not funny anymore.
Yeah, they lose half their jokes.
That's tough, really tough.
Isn't it?
I think it's opened up a bit more like that. I guess that was the kind of the image of the stand-up, wasn't it? The sort of slovenly, pisshead, unhealthy sort of thing. But now... you got cool guys like Will Anderson and stuff like that.
Yeah, he dresses sharp too these days. I saw him at the comedy festival. He had like pointy-toed shoes on, and real tight jeans. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, so he's made it really cool now.
You're going to make me laugh.
Yeah.
You're not looking funny.
Yeah. So things like that. I think the image has changed now that it's a bit more out there and it's a bit more like rock star kind of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So is the image a part of your act, I guess?
Not really. I mean, I just wear like jeans and a t-shirt on stage. So, no, not really. I'm not one of those people that would wear a suit on stage. I'd just be like, it's not me, and I'm misrepresenting myself. So what you see for me is what you get pretty much.
Yeah.
Would you ever do a show naked?
Would I?
Yeah.
Nah, fuck that. Jesus.
Why did you ask that?
I don't know. I just kind of picturing you naked.
Is this why you got me here?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Why have you locked the door?
Oh, yeah. I didn't know you saw that.
Our third segment is take your pants off. So what about I was doing looking into some of your stuff over the last couple of days before the interview, obviously, and you did a year off the booze.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Why did you do that? What was the reason behind it?
There was kind of a couple of reasons. One, I just wanted to see if I had the discipline to do it. Because everyone, Feb fast is a big thing, and you kind of go, it's 28 days, it's pretty soft, everyone whinges about it, and they talk about, I took a weekend off. It's like, fucking hell, man, it's 28 days. If you can't do that, you got an issue. And I was just getting into the point where I just, it was a massive, not problem, but habit. It had become just everything I did was involved with booze.
So what are we talking per week? Like 6 beers 3 or 4 nights a week, or like a couple of big solid one?
Yeah, big solid
night
ones.
sessions?
Kind of weekend.
Yeah, right.
Hit and binge, and not to go out there and get smashed, but it would end up like that.
Yeah,
You just get carried away and just wouldn't care about it.
Which is fun. Let's be honest. I've got Tommy talk about it all the time. Drinking's fun.
Yeah.
It's so bad for you and so like whatever, but it's good at the time. If you got good friends, which we all I'm sure do, it's the best.
It's social. Everything about it is great. And I just thought, I wonder if I can do it. And I set myself a year because I thought if I do a month, it's not really that bad. If I do 3 months, it's kind of like, go for a year because that covers every possible part of a year. Easter, Christmas, New Year's, the winter months, the summer months, everything that you go through that's really tough. Comedy festival for me, final series in the footy.
Yeah.
All that sort of shit. It runs the whole thing, like I certainly... what's it called? Spring racing was tough.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Going to the races because everyone's hammered by 2.
Yeah, that's right.
And you just there going, fuck, what am I doing?
Yeah.
That was hard. So it was just good to do all that. But I found it really easy. Once you break the habit, it's easy as. Like you just, whenever you go to the pub and you're with mates, you get a beer, and it was hard to learn how to have a conversation without a glass in your hand.
Oh, for sure.
It's a habitual thing, is it? See, Hughesy talks a lot about this.
Yeah, he hasn't drunk
like
since
cigarettes as well.
92. Yeah.
He hasn't drunk since 1992.
I used to smoke cigarettes always when I was like youngster and then into like 20, 24
Can you
or whatever.
just put that dart out?
Yeah. And but for me, it was the same, and now it's the same. Like what you just said. If I'm out sober, I'm coming to grips with being able to hold a conversation. But it used to be with cigarettes. I'd be like, it was just habitual as well. Only when I was drinking, really. But it'd be beer.
Have a dart.
Yeah, and if I don't have a cigarette, I'm like, what do I do with this hand?
Yeah.
Put it in my pocket.
Yeah.
Like it was such a habit thing, and then. Yeah, for me as well, it was like getting off the booze and trying to hold a regular conversation, which now as an adult I can quite comfortably do. But when I was younger, I was like, couldn't be around people that that were drunk when I was sober.
Well, that's the other thing I found. So firstly, you break the habit. I reckon it took about 3 or 4 weeks, and then you get used to it. Like you just go, yeah, it's not happening, and your mindset changes, and you're okay with doing it. The hardest thing was, firstly, you get tired because you're not full of sugar. So about 10 or 11 o'clock, you actually start to be like, fuck, I want to go home. And secondly, you do want to go home because everyone is talking gibberish.
Yes.
You cannot keep up with conversations. People repeat themselves. They talk rubbish. They laugh at shit that's not funny. And you just go, oh, I can't be here. I want to kill all you.
Yeah. I can't believe
hate
I'm mates
all
with
of you.
guys.
Yeah. It was exactly like that.
You're my family and I hate you.
Yeah. I remember walking from one pub to another pub with some mates, and I was, talking to one friend, and it was about 600 metres. And he told me the same story 3 times. And the third time he brought it up, I thought he's taking the piss. And he wasn't. And I was like, fuck. And when you see that and you realise that obviously when you're drunk, that's what you do. But you don't remember it, you don't notice it. But when you see it from a sober person's eyes,
it's just embarrassing, isn't it?
Dude. When you see people walking down the street, staggering across a footpath because they can't walk straight.
Chapel Street. I went to pick up my girlfriend from Chapel Street. She'd been out with just having dinner and drinks with the girls. It was probably like 11 or 12. And I parked up right next to one of the big clubs or whatever. Anyway, everyone was happening. Everyone was walking around the street. And I was watching people that I could literally, every single one of them, that dude's coked out of his brains. That dude's 10 pills deep. That dude's going to get hit by a car. Like, it was like being in the zoo. It was crazy. It was like 10 p.m.
And it sucks that it's the social norm, really.
Yeah, that's the other thing is just how often it's done. It's like celebration, commiseration, win, loss, whatever. We drink. Especially Australian society drinks.
It just sucks.
And people are always like, what do you mean you're not having a drink? You're at a wedding. It's like, I'm just not having a drink,
Exactly.
My mate was one of my best mates. Went down to have...
you've got a few mates.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
Yeah, Woz and Rosie.
Roz and Rosie,
The two that I keep mentioning.
That's cool.
I went down to Woz's place and I just didn't want to have a beer. It was a Sunday arvo. Because when I have a couple of beers, I feel like if I'm doing some work, I feel like I'm not quite
you're not sharp.
You're not sharp. So I don't do it. I'd rather, if I'm going to drink, I'll have maybe dinner, or if it's like the end of the night, or a big session. I'll that's how I'll do it. And Woz was having like a barbecue, and me and girlfriend went down there. It was like new kids and dog and all this stuff. And anyway, went down there and Woz was like, do you want a beer, Bilzer? Calls me Bilzer. I said, no, mate, I'm driving. He goes, when did you go, vagina? Like straight into me. And I'm like, no, I'm just driving, mate, because Jill's going to have a drink. It's fine. Like, it's all right, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm happy to see you. Like, fuck.
Yeah. There's that expectation. How did you get past? I always think of it as the first sort of 15 minutes where there's the most amount of peer pressure and, everyone's going like, have a beer, mate. Like, how'd you get yourself over that?
After a while, everyone knew that I wasn't drinking, so they just stopped offering. Because a lot of people would be like, just have one. You're like, why just have one when I can just have none?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why am I going to have one?
Yeah, exactly.
So
I've always found it very useless.
Bizarre.
Yeah. So I just, it was quite easy after a while. People got it that I wasn't going to be drinking. Because they knew that I used to love a drink, so that was the hardest thing. It's like, I'm just not drinking. It's okay.
Yeah.
And then when the year was coming up, they're like, what are you coming back? What date? What date?
Yeah.
And the day that I got back on it, there was a comedy show during the day near where the pub we went to. And then all these other comedians came down. And it was weird talking about it with a friend afterwards, celebrating me getting back on the booze.
That's so true.
It's so weird.
Yeah, you got cancer again.
It was so bizarre. But you know what was incredible is how amazing I felt. Like, you got energy on Mondays and Tuesdays, which I did not know was a thing.
That's true.
My skin was great. I felt fantastic. It was unbelievable. Like, the damage it does is fucking ridiculous.
But I think you hit it on the head. One of the reasons why your mates have so much peer pressure is because I don't know you that well, but I think that I assume you'd be very good value on the piss. This is what I think, right?
To a point,
me and Tony, like myself, my nickname's Doc because I was the doctor back in the day, whatever. But that's like kind of like an alter ego-ish thing. Yeah. So like, the boys will often say like, is the doctor coming out tonight?
Yeah, right.
Because I can get very, very loose. Yeah. And that's what I think my mates miss probably that part. Mm-hmm. Whereas I'm like, I'm not a bad bloke when I'm sober.
I'm still a bit of a gimp, but...
Good to see you. Rose, he knows me now.
Yeah, Rose's like, he sucks, doesn't he? He's a gimp. He's a real gimp.
This guy.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah, that's interesting. I made it 10 months without masturbating once.
I haven't
it was
from when you were born to 10 months old.
No, because
I don't know how you remember that.
my mate Matt, we were travelling once. And he said to me,
God, how's this go?
he came out of the shower in our dorm, and he goes,
It's getting worse.
He goes, oh, geez, that was good. I said, what do you mean? He goes, oh, I just had a real nice masty. And I said to him,
Masty. Never heard it shortened like that.
I said, this is Royzy, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I always tell stories that. Anyway, so I said, mate, that's my fucking shower as well. You can't do that. And he goes, well, whatever, mate. Where have you been doing? I said, mate, I haven't.
Yeah.
Which I hadn't, 3 months of travelling through Central America. He goes, bullshit. And I said, no, mate, I haven't felt the urge to do that. I'm travelling, it's fine, I'm having fun. And he goes, and he couldn't believe that I was serious. I said, tell you what, I won't for the rest of the trip. He goes, bullshit, you can't do that. I said, you watch me. And then we had this like...
How did you prove it?
I just didn't wear any pants and he walked around all day for the next 6 months. But, and then when I got home, I told him that just to prove it to him he was like, oh, you could only do that because you were travelling. You could only do that because you're... I'm like, well, I'll go a year. And then I got 10 months and I grabbed my dick and I pulled it.
Had a masty.
It's weird that it's like shortened to that nasty. Why not go to miss?
Yeah. Well, we actually used to call it, me and the boys used to actually call it the International No Masturbation Policy.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Enough about
you were having sex, though.
Yeah, that's right. So that's why it was easy.
Yeah.
So that's why when the 6 months ended, I said to my mate, I was like, yeah, well, watch this, man. I'll do it at home. And then, like I said, don't get along with Aussie chicks as well.
So that's when your tally went from 3 to 7.
Yeah.
So anyway, so when you had this year off the booze, like, did you get right into your fitness? What do you do for training wise? Do you have to be fit to be a comedian?
No, Jesus.
I actually just lost my train of thought after the whole masturbation story. So, yeah.
But you were mentioning before that you tried CrossFit.
I did try CrossFit. I didn't mind some parts of it. Like, I enjoyed the workouts and stuff, but I just felt it was a bit sameish. I was just like, all right, I've done enough squats.
Which is so ironic because CrossFit prides itself on being the sport of variance.
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it?
But yeah, I didn't find that at all. I just found everything was either squat based or what else did you do lots of?
Olympic lifting based.
Yeah, I didn't mind that because I'd never done that before. It was actually good to learn, sweet techniques. So when you go to a normal gym, you can do it.
Yeah, that's what I do. I'm a weightlifter.
Yeah, right.
And I mention it every show, so it's normally.
Every fucking show.
But yeah, that's what I started did a bit of CrossFit and then I've gone into weightlifting. It's great.
Yeah.
It's fun too.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that side of it. But I started boxing about 8-10 years ago and just loved that. And I maybe got a bit bored with that. It was just a bit repetitive, but it's just such a good workout. You feel good about it, and it just kind of clears your head. It's because I have trouble switching off, don't sleep very well, all that kind of stuff. So the hour that you're working out, doesn't matter what it is a time when I'm not thinking about work, and particularly like with CrossFit or boxing or something that's really hard. You can't drift away.
No.
You're in the moment. You're just thinking about that. You're thinking about, your next breath and
100%.
how much your bones hurt from the lack of oxygen, shit like that.
Oh,
so, and that's why I really enjoy just training. So I do that, do Pilates, go for a run occasionally. I was into swimming for a while and just haven't got back into that, but I should. It's just good. It helps you. It just helps me mentally. That's my meditation.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Because that's like what meditation is. It's focusing on one thing and not having the clutter. Yeah. So I couldn't agree more. So you've got your own podcast now, Junk Time. You've had it for how long? So why did you get into the realm of podcasting? You think it's the next avenue for comics out there and everybody out there? Or?
I think it's really good for comics to be able to, because basically every radio show now is just with famous people, and if you haven't got a profile, it can be really hard to do it. And the guy that I do it, Michael, who I do the show with, so Junk Time is an AFL-based comedy sort of footy show, and he was looking around for something to listen to, and basically there was nothing that did comedy and footy, and so he just went, let's do it, let's provide one, for people to listen to, and it's gone really well. So we're in our third year, and we love it. We did live shows during the comedy festival. We've had great guests, and it's just really good fun, just talking about footy. And I used to write for Before the Game, and so I'm really into my footy, and I know footy comedy, so it's just great.
Yeah, cool. So
it's called Junk Time AFL Podcast. If you like footy and you like a laugh,
we'll definitely put that in all of our show notes and stuff. So I'll have all the links in there for you.
Yeah.
So what did you find? different to the podcast rather than any other forms of media? Anything? Or is it's pretty relaxed?
It's pretty relaxed. You've got no boundaries. So you can swear, you can go as hard as you want. Yeah, basically.
Yep.
It's and it can be as long as we want, as short as we want. We can talk about whatever we want. And you could probably go a lot harder on a potty than you could on air. Like you get a bit protective. Like you'd be like, if you're on a certain station, be like, we can't talk about this person. Or
we couldn't have had half the conversation we had in the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. It just gives you the freedom that you don't have when there's no just you can do whatever you want.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm very intrigued as to how slanderous you can be. Not that we are, but because people don't generally hear the podcast, how hard do people go? Like, has anyone been sued from a podcast?
I wouldn't know. Hopefully I don't get sued by Nick Barton.
Who is now a international lawyer.
He had just rock up in your backyard. But seriously, who turns out to a barbecue they're not fucking invited to?
That's right. Terrible.
That's right, and starts creeping on a bloke's missus.
Does he go for Collingwood and did he bring an Aussie chick?
No, he doesn't.
Seriously,
so it wasn't the devil.
That guy, it sucks. Look, Nick, I've never met you, mate. But if you're listening, pull your act together.
So do you use it as in? Are you getting sponsors, or you use it just as building the brand of Adam Rozenbachs, or what's the plan for it?
I mean, there's no real. We never set up like a plan as this. We need to hit these points or whatever. We're just kind of putting it out there. But we've started. We've got some merchandise now, which is good, so we can start to make a little bit of cash out of it. We have had some sponsorship. We'd love, more. Obviously, everyone would. But for us, it's just fun. Talk footy. We love it, and we'll be talking it anyway. So we may as well just record it and have some fun with it. And if it ended up on a radio station, we'd be wrapped.
Yeah, cool.
Yep. I guess
all
that
those
was the
radio stations out there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, that was the same thing for me and Bill. We became good mates through working together, and then we sort of just figured, hey, man, we're having such a fucking good time talking to each other. Let's just let other people hear it.
Record it. Yeah, exactly.
Let's just see what it sounds like. Yeah.
So do you guys it's just you two? You don't bring guests in, or you do?
No, we do have guests. So we have a lot of comedians bowl through, and then during the comedy festival, we had like we've spoken to Chris Jard, Jonathan Brown, with Jared Ruffhead in.
See,
during
that's
the comedy
great.
festival. Ruffy was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
He's a ripping bloke.
Yeah. So that's what, like me and Tommy, we're 40 shows in, and we've been doing two shows a week. So we release 2 shows a week. So we're actually 40 shows, 5 months or something. And on Tuesday, do you know Wim Hof? The Iceman?
No.
Ever heard of the Iceman? The guy that's done all the climbed Everest in a pair of shorts and
He said no the first time, mate.
Yeah.
After the 12th time, yes, I do know Wim Hof.
So he's a really super interesting figure because he's got the Wim Hof breathing technique, and he's
Oh, no, I do know that. He
changes his...
Yeah,
fuck you, man.
Hi, guys. I'm Nick Barton. Welcome to the show.
So Wim Hof, I did his little night with Wim Hof on Tuesday night, and I've been talking to him about getting him as a coach for Adventure Fit.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, his tour manager messaged me Wednesday morning, and I woke up and I saw the message, something about the podcast. I called him straight away. I spoke to Tommy. I said, man, get your shit together. We're going to interview Wim Hof in fucking 30 minutes in St Kilda. And we went down there. Tommy was playing music with him, jam with him, had a great time.
So
but this
good.
is like the conversation we're having now. Like,
it's awesome.
You get to engage with people, and the people that we reach out to are people that we genuinely want to chat to and hear from. So as far as like it being just fun to sit around and shoot the shit, like the fact of getting guests on as well, it's so amazing because I've got one of my best books I've ever read, one of my favourite books, Marching Powder. We interviewed the author of Marching Powder, and we were like bros at the end, had big hugs. And
really?
So it's been great for that. Like probably with you and all the footy stars, like Ruffy and the boys.
In the prison?
No.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
Have you read Marching Powder?
Yeah.
No, so he's
back in London, is he?
It was in his mum and dad's study, computer room, on the mattress that he was sleeping on the floor.
Oh, right. Well,
So
that's
good.
Skype.
No, we went to
Sydney. And, yeah.
So
right.
we do like weekends in Sydney. So he's classic, man. He's been travelling around the world just writing and being a nomad and telling stories. And he was back crashing on his would have done well back in the day, if you know what I mean too.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And but he was
what do you mean?
he was crashing on the couch at his on the mattress at his mum and dad's place, and it was just a funny scenario, but just so good to be able to reach out for us, because you're a comedian, so you have platforms and you've been on the show. But especially for me and Tommy, it's like we can reach out to comedians that we like and figures that we're just so intrigued by, like Wim Hof and stuff, and pick their brains with the questions we want to ask. It's such a good...
Meet some cool people, really cool people. All get together and have an EpiPen sesh.
It'll be a good sesh.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So I heard you in one of your little clips that I listened to on your website. I heard you talking about ripping off the self-serve registers at Coles and Safeway.
Oh yeah.
What are your favourite techniques? Because I've got a few of my own. I reckon we can save ourselves at least $7 a week here.
I mean, you don't. The nuts. There's different price nuts. So everyone.
Everything's banana chips.
Yeah. Are they the cheap ones? Are they?
Banana chips are $9.99 a kilo.
Yeah,
I always put my macadamia through as banana
as opposed
chips.
to everything else. What else do you put through?
I always put my avocados through as onions.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because avocados are about $4,000 a
Carrots are big.
Yeah.
Carrots are really selling well down
Yeah.
down Coles.
Okay, you buy a lot of No, well, I was like the Coles man for a while.
What do you mean?
I was like the superhero for Coles.
Oh, we on the TV?
Yeah.
I don't
It was
remember
part of
that.
their advertising campaign, and I was still doing that joke because I was just like, it'd be fine. And then
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, and then they came to me and were like, you'd want to stop doing that.
Yeah.
No, fair enough.
You can't-
You want to stop doing both those things,
Yeah.
talking about it, and
Yeah,
actually doing it.
Yeah,
Sometimes
that's
still
right,
from us.
yeah.
Hey, man, I'm in the outfit. I'm allowed to steal.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, actually, we need that effort back. You
Yeah.
didn't pay for that.
I know.
My brother. So Jack's 8 years younger than me, so he's 22, and he moved up to Richmond with his mates when he was like 19, first year of uni, and so I said to Jack, we were down getting some food somewhere. I think it was in Richmond. Anyway, I said, "Hey, bro, we'll grab some of this and we'll put them through as banana chips and stuff." And Jack goes, "Hey, watch this one." And he grabs the cheapest sticker. You know, like in the delis and stuff, they have stickers.
Yeah.
So the cheapest sticker is like thyme. You know, thyme, like the herb.
Yeah.
Thyme. You can get a thing of thyme for like 80 cents. So he gets a sticker of thyme and he goes, "Watch this." And he starts peeling it off real slowly, like in the basket, and then walks over to a 4-pack of I Feel It steaks.
Are you
for
kidding
like
me?
$40. Slams it over the top, walks through, beep, 80 cents, 20 cents a steak.
First, just looking at him, it's like, it's a fair amount of time, mate. Mate, what are you cooking?
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That's my actual stand-up. That's the joke that I say in my stand-up.
Really?
Yeah, is to take the barcode off a can of baked beans and stick it on your hand.
Yeah.
And then just scan everything through and it reads the bottom of your hand.
Yeah, well, we used to...
I
used
didn't know
to
people were actually doing this. This is great.
That's so true.
Well, I used to get the chickens, and when you buy a roast chicken, you can buy. I normally buy a 40-cent a cutlery set. Mm-hmm. So, and then the barcode would be on the bottom of the chicken. So I'd stick the cutlery set in my right hand. Beep. 40-cent chicken.
So good.
I'm not condoning any of this.
Yeah, that's right. I murdered it, dude. What, are we on the same boat here?
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, no.
That was gold.
Apologies.
All right, so we'll start to maybe wrap it up, Rosie, because we got 6 questions we'd like to ask, I guess, at the end. Stop laughing, Tommy.
Sorry.
So, firstly, what's next for Adam Rozenbachs? What's in the works?
So probably looking at a comedy festival show next year in 2017, which I'm just starting to kind of tick over at the moment. Mm-hmm. And then I'm hoping I went overseas with my dad in Europe a couple of years ago, and that was a nightmare of a trip. So I want to either turn that into a film or a book or a TV series or something like that. So that's kind of next big project I'm hoping.
Nice.
That's cool. Have you done anything towards that, or is it just an idea at the moment?
I did do a comedy festival show, so it kind of exists as like a bit of a script.
Yep.
So, and Dad saw the show and we got good publicity out of it. So I know the show itself was, half decent.
Yep.
So hopefully I can turn it into something decent.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what's your dream for your career in the end?
Shit, man. I mean, it'd be great to just have like my own kind of comedy show, like either on telly or radio or something, just to get my own sort of vehicle up, which would be fantastic. I'd love to do something like that. And that's always kind of been the dream, I guess, because I write for a lot of TV shows. I see other people doing my jokes. I know I can get laughs, on a big scale. So that would be the one to be, controlling my own kind of program would be great. Yeah.
For sure. All right. Well, should we go to 6 from 6?
We certainly should.
All right. So three questions from me, Rosie.
Yep.
Mine are travel related. I start us off. So first one is your favourite destination on the planet that you've been. Can be country, town, continent.
Yeah. Favourite. Probably going to say the States. I had a ball when I was in the States. Just for whatever reason, like I've been through South America, I've been through Asia and stuff, and Europe, and had put off the States because I just thought, maybe it won't be that great. It's always going to be there. And then when I went there, I was just blown away. Like New York is as good as you can imagine. San Fran's fantastic. Chicago, I loved. Portland was really cool. So. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Would love to go back and just see the rest of it.
Yeah, awesome.
There's so much to see and do. And just such lovely people.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
They really
I
are.
can't believe that.
Yep. I was in the States last month with my brother, and he was walking. It was the first time he'd been over there. I've been there twice. And Jack was like, what's going on here? Why is everyone so nice to us?
Yeah, it's you just don't get that.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
image that's portrayed is not like that, but they're so friendly. They're lovely.
Yeah, and I don't know whether I was like, I wonder if it's whether we're Australian and they genuinely love Australians, want to hear us talk, and or whether they're just generally nice. I don't know.
And
but
we'll never know that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. So next question is your dream destination. So again, it can be anywhere, big, small.
Yeah. Man, where would I like to go? I mean, I'm a big World War II history buff, so I'd love to see Stalingrad, just to kind of do the historical sites around there. And what I would love to do is do the run that the German army did from Berlin to Stalingrad, just to see what they went through and the winter and all that kind of shit would just be amazing. I don't think there's any tours that run that, but just to see, because I have just such an appreciation of what those soldiers go through, or just the shit that they live through, the stuff that we complain about gets to 12 degrees in Melbourne, we're whinging.
100%. It's
like 44 degrees, they're in summer uniforms, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Would just be fantastic, and just to see, what they all kind of went through. I went to the Normandy beaches in France, and that was pretty amazing.
Do you think you could, and this is, nothing against you because I don't think I could do it either, do you think you'd be able to do it? It'd be a good test, wouldn't it?
Fuck no.
Yeah.
It's just the stuff that they went through, like, because I've done a few gigs for the Australian Defence Force, and so I went to Afghanistan for a week, and just to see, how they live and the way they live and the pressure that they're under full time. It's just like, I get angry if I can't find a car park.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And these guys are, they're elite machines.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Last question from me is, if you're on a desert island, you have three things to keep you sane. You've got toothbrush and water and people.
Safe, yep.
What are those three things?
Oh, fuck. To keep me sane. So can I have a laptop with do I have internet?
You can.
Look, we've given people laptops with internet included. So you can do that.
That's one.
All
Yep.
right. Do I have an endless supply of books?
You can have
a Kindle.
A solar Kindle. We have rewarded a solar Kindle before.
All right, I'll take a Kindle. Oh, no, if I've got a laptop, I don't need a Kindle.
I was just going to say.
Well, I'm not
you
sure.
can just download Kindle.com.
Yeah, that's a good point. Or Audible.
You got Audible. You got a ton of books.
All right, that's good. That's all on my laptop. Shit, man, I'm doing pretty well. What else would I need? Like a full gym.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, full setup gym. So everything that I need that will grow. I can't think of it all right now.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But an Airdyne bike as well, because I hate those things.
So you want an Airdyne bike?
Yeah, I do, because it keeps you fit.
I bought a rower the other day. It's just sitting in the back.
Yeah,
I
noticed that.
I can't stand the Airdyne.
Oh, no, they're horrible.
Yeah.
They're horrible
So,
machines.
Probably why I should use it
Some of
more.
the rowers.
Yeah. I like the rower slightly more.
Yeah. There's not a lot to
Or
like.
I hate it slightly less.
Yeah.
And what else would I like? What are some of the other things that people have...
People say we had horseshoes before in the last one. That was quite bizarre. So Nick Sorrell is a really good dude, and hopefully he's listening.
Playing a game or something?
Is that what it is? Is a horseshoe something you put on your foot, or is a horseshoe something you throw around a
Yeah,
thing?
you can play games with it. You can put a peg and you throw the horseshoe on the peg.
I
think that's what he was going down, but he didn't really
Bizarre.
pretended not to explain. Maybe
My dad said he'd have a pair of socks, which is quite
so
strange.
am I clothed or not?
No, you're full ham out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe some sunscreen then. I'm pretty pale.
Very good. And a pair of scissors.
Yeah.
cool. That's it for me.
Alrighty. What do you like to do in your downtime when you're not on the go?
What do? I love reading. I just because again, it just helps me switch off and get away from just me constantly thinking about stuff. And I've gotten into like historical podcasts lately, which are really cool. So I don't really listen to those while I'm working out because I just drift off and can't listen to potty. So if I'm in the car, if I'm doing long drives, or I've got a gig that's a couple of hours away, chuck the potty on.
Which ones?
Dan Carlin's Hardcore History.
Dan Carlin's good.
History's sick.
Yeah, which I really enjoy. And they're like 4 hours an episode, so you got to go for a long drive.
Oh yeah.
Have you checked out History on Fire by Daniele Bolelli?
No.
It's really good also.
Okay.
Yep.
I will check that out. History on Fire.
I'll shoot it through to you or something, or text it through to you. But here, if you remember History on Fire,
Okay.
Daniele Boglielli, very similar to Dan Carlin.
Yeah.
Really good.
So, and what else? Just, watch a bit of telly or just exercise if I've got downtime. I just really enjoy it.
Yep. Now, I'm pretty sure we touched on this before, but any sort of inspirations as a kid, big role models. Doesn't have to be comedy related.
Yeah, I mean, I was always impressed by the writings of like Stephen King when I was younger. Just the way that he could create a universe in your head. I was always fascinated by whether or not you're into his kind of horror stuff, but he wrote some killer books and stuff that would scare the fuck out of you, and just the strength of that kind of writing. Oh man,
That was the scariest movie I ever saw as a kid.
Oh, that's the last thing you need to see is a
100%.
fucking clown in a drain.
Oh.
Yeah. What
That's
about
not going to scare the fuck out of you.
the girl? I just remember it's still tattooed in my brain. The girl gets taken from the bike. You don't see it, but you see her riding the bike down the street, and then you see the scene flashes, comes back, and the bike's turned up and the wheels just spinning.
Yeah.
You're like,
Because there's the element of surprise there, isn't it?
The books are fantastic. Like The Shining, not much happens in The Shining. It's just a guy's descent into madness.
Yeah, that's right.
Fuck, it's a good book.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good.
I haven't read any of his stuff.
Yeah, I've seen the movie Shining. I haven't read it. I have to read
It's
it.
a really good book. Yeah, it's a fucking good book. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and finally, if you could invite, so your family's there, anyone important that you want to be is there, if you could invite 3 people, dead or alive, to dinner, who would they be and why? A lot of people say Jesus.
No, I've read about his stuff. Cool.
Yeah.
I've got him covered.
He's no good.
Shit, man. Who would I want to... Someone like Magellan,
Okay.
because I like reading those kind of, not adventure books, but just explorers, and the fact that he went under South America and just was into the unknown. And he's just how was that? He ended up in the Philippines.
I definitely don't know of Magellan.
Okay, so he's basically discovered South America.
Really?
Yeah, that was all him. And so at the bottom of South America is the Straits of Magellan, and then that's why the Philippines speak Spanish at the moment, and that's why there's so much. That's why South America was so dominant. Spain and Portugal were so dominant through Southeast Asia was because of
Magellan discovered it.
So I reckon he'd have some good stories to tell.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Definitely.
Who else would I like to talk to?
You got 2 more.
All right. I think James Hetfield from Metallica.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Would be pretty cool.
That's a cool one.
Big Metallica fan when I was younger, so that would be a lot of fun.
What's like the number one thing you'd ask him?
Yeah, what would I ask him? How much do you like Lars?
Yeah, isn't there like a few? They used to not get along.
Have you seen Some Kind of Monster?
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Have you seen that, Bill?
Nah.
Oh, dude, it's they started filming a documentary about them recording an album, and it just descends into like just nitpicking, and they get a psychologist in, and if you're not into Metallica, it's still great. It's just it's like a family going to bits.
Yeah, that's
fucking
cool.
funny. Yeah.
What was it called?
Some Kind of Monster.
Some Kind of
And
Monster.
that's the one where the end of the doco is them doing a live performance of Saint Anger, isn't it? Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's good. So I'd like to meet him. I think he'd be a pretty fun dude.
Yeah.
And what else historically? I mean, it'd be interesting to have a bit of a chat with Hitler just to see what was going on.
Everyone says Hitler.
Be interesting.
Everyone, but probably 4. That's probably the 4th time. Maybe
I'd say at least
40 guess.
60. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I was about to say 60%, but 4 out of 40 is 10%.
10%.
I was about to exaggerate it massively. 90% of...
You're about to put the whole bucket of mayo.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Definitely. That's a
That'd be interesting.
very interesting one.
Yep.
Yeah, it'd be a good chat.
Yeah, that's just...
Cool. Well, Rosie, where can everybody find you?
Anything you want to plug?
Anything you want to plug?
Nothing coming up at the moment, like I said, but my website is rosie.com.au, R-O-Z-I-E. There's Junk Time AFL podcast if you want to check that out. I'll be doing gigs around Melbourne, but that's all up on my website, and then Comedy Festival next year.
Cool.
Beautiful.
Twitter, Instagram.
Oh, yeah. I'm all over it, man. So it's just A Rozenbachs for both Twitter and Instagram.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. All right. Well,
Loved it, man.
That's it from us. Thanks a lot for coming on the show.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Cool.
And that's a wrap. Alrighty, guys. Thanks for listening. Dylan, thanks. You
Sorry, mate.
off.
You chukaklamamuff.
If you guys like the show, make sure that you subscribe, leave us a rating review on iTunes, and get around our sponsors. Our sponsors are audible.com. So head to audibletrial.com/ADVF radio to get your free trial with Audible. You'll get a free audiobook and you'll get 30 days to be a cool audio listener. Mm-hmm. And then Audible listener. And then also Adventure Fit Travel. Check out www.adventurefittravel.com and check out all we've got going on there. We've got some new trips for you guys. We got our blogs. We've got all our podcast house there. So it's all happening. That's pretty much it from me.
Yep. Very good.
All right. Cheers, guys. Bye. See you next week.
Discovery Roger. Go for deploy.